find it unbelievable. And this is why some of the pilots, like David Fravor, whom I've spoken with, very sincerely believe that those objects he chased had to be from another dimension, another world, another planet, whatever, and that we couldn't possibly have something like that. And yet we have knowledge and proofs that those were in fact from the Lockheed Skunk Works. This particular site had electromagnetic pulse weapons that, of course, an electromagnetic pulse is what you get from a nuclear blast, but just that pulse factor can be weaponized. Now, that's against the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, but we have them. And of course, the organization doing this could care less about law, treaties, international law, et cetera. Who cares? If you're going to be rogue and break the law, you're going to break all of them, right? Right. So what has happened when I was over this site, I realized this gentleman is a senior operator there, very senior, who actually has handled the biologicals, meaning the dead bodies of the ETs, but also of the human pilots that we've killed that have accidentally strayed into that airspace during an operation that have been struck with these electromagnetic pulse weapons at both sites. The one site I was over, he said about 2 ET craft a year are knocked down there, and that he's been involved with retrieving and the OPSEC, operational security around it. He's extremely senior. And so it was kind of spooky because there was a security vehicle right by one of those as we descended right over the site, maybe 100, 200 feet, AGL, but ground level. But, and the director of the law enforcement strike team that we've been providing information to is behind me and the backseat of the chopper. But the purpose of this was for us to review this site, because besides the fact that they're targeting and knocking down the ET craft, and by accident, unfortunately, a civilian aircraft, and they just completely get rid of the fuselage and the bodies of these poor people who have been killed over this site. And that's something we're looking at opening up a major investigation and lawsuit over, because it's a lot of people over the years that have been killed. This one site's been fully operational for 40 years, and 40. And yeah, 40, and have on average killed about 2 ET craft and retrieved those victims during that period. So that's 80 crash retrievals just at one site. The other site, similar number. So when I tell people we have 122 crash retrieval cases, those are the ones that we have had people come forward and talk about. There's obviously probably more than 1,000 over the years, and I would say globally much more than that. The other problem is that we found out that that same site, this operation, they have people who've been trained using very advanced technologies. And what I described in 1991 as consciousness-assisted technology, interface between thought, consciousness, and technology, to essentially hijack an ET vehicle, bring it into the area, and kill it. And this particular gentleman is handing over to us a couple of these operators that do that. Most of the people doing that are killed in the process of their training, but there are some alive, and a couple of them are coming forward. Now, that sounds like science fiction, but it's true. And this is part of the problem, is that the deeper you go into the subject, the rabbit hole just gets crazier. And the truth is way more unbelievable than the fiction being sold. Now, of course, all these senior folks who've approached us know about how they've been conducting abductions, making them look alien, what those technologies entail, how they've been doing and why they've been doing mutilations. We have a new whistleblower who's involved in that directly. It's very dark stuff, as Tucker Carlson recently said in an interview with someone. But he doesn't know that a lot of the stage crafting of the scariest stuff are covert human programs conducting them for their psychological warfare value, quote unquote, quote the CIA document. But that's something we hope to clear up with Mr. Carlson soon, and some other journalists who have been gaslit by some false information.
Yeah.
The problem is I think the timeline's getting very short. I'm not trying to sound ominous.
Right.
I don't think there's 30 more years or 80 more years to fool around as things have been going. For one thing, the betrayal of the ETs by our covert illegal secret government is not going to be allowed to go on much longer. And if we don't fix it, there are forces out there in space that will, which is a worst case scenario. I want to repeat it. It's a worst case scenario. Everyone asks, why don't the ETs just come and fix all this? Oh no, you don't want that under any circumstances.